More and more things started falling through the cracks, incredibly so, where there was duplicate appointments being made, wrong Zoom links sent out to clients. Welcome, guys, to episode 98. Now, the other day I was having a little chat with one of my I'll call it a mastermind. You've heard me talk about these masterminds for since this podcast has started. I have a few, I'm in one that's for digital marketing agencies. And then I have a little side one that I have with a couple of digital marketing agency owners in the States, couple of I call them my friends as well. That's kind of a side thing. So we talk personal as well as professional. Now with these two amazing ladies, one's in Canada, one's in the States. And then of course I'm in Sydney, Australia. We catch up once a month, and our last call, it was a really interesting session. And I wanted to talk to you about a conversation we had with one of the women in the chat, because she was reaching out to us for advice. And I just thought it could be timely for you guys as well. And it's the topic of hiring and firing, specifically in this case, firing. So have you ever heard of the saying, be quick to fire, slow to hire? I think there's a lot in that, although I know it's freaking challenging to do that for most of us because we're kind of the opposite. If we think about it, right? We are quick to hire because we're desperate for support if we're growing our business, and sometimes don't do the due diligence or, the number of interviews we should be doing or testing, getting test projects happening, all that sort of stuff. And then it's harder to fire, especially if you are connected to the person and you feel bad, like many people do. So quick to fire. Yeah, that didn't happen with my friend. So we had a call, like a whole month passed between our calls, and the same situation was still happening. So this individual was working in her agency, and what started happening is that he came from sort of a rules-based background. So he really only could work under like rules, basically tick the boxes in the checklist. And he didn't really want to or have the strength or talent at this point in his life to think strategically or sort of think for himself or think ahead. And not saying that's good or bad. We all have our different strengths for sure and our weaknesses. But his was just give me a checklist and let me follow it. Now, unfortunately, really in the digital agency world, yes, there's a lot of processes that you follow for sure, but there's also thinking required and strategy and being proactive about a lot. So he was coming in to do the calendar, manage the project management system, just make sure that everything was looked after, nothing fell through the cracks. And more and more things started falling through the cracks, incredibly so, where there was duplicate appointments being made, wrong Zoom links sent out to clients, all that sort of stuff. So my friend, she was so stressed out. She's so sweet. And she's like, oh, I just don't know what to do. And he's such a nice guy. And in our first call together, I said to her, look, I said, maybe he's just the wrong person for the role. Maybe that's all it is. Like literally, maybe that's it. Because you need somebody that has these strengths and maybe that's honest to God, just not who he is. And she's like, yeah, but I just feel like we can train him and, make it happen. And she's like, so I'm going to set myself a goal until the next time we speak that I'm going to improve my training and my systems and procedures and my sort of quote unquote checklists. And I said, great. Okay, well, we'll come back together and tell me how it went. So I said, how did it go? And she goes, I have to let him go. I said, oh, what's happened, in the last month? And she said, look, I used it as a month to literally go through my SOPs, my procedures, my checklists of how we run our business. And even with that, like to the point where it's so clearly spelled out. And she said, I give him some projects just literally where you don't actually have to think, because I was trying to think, maybe I can put him into these other areas of the business. She said, but literally I had, Loom videos or videos sharing the screen and walking through that. I had checklists. I had like tick the box after you've done this and then the next box. She said, then even when that happened, I sat him down and I said, even with the revised systems, I see that you checked this off, but yet it wasn't done. What happened? And he would say, I could have sworn I did it. But So she tried everything. And this was a real problem for them for at least 3 months when it started happening. And she was so stressed out. And she just got to this point where she's like, I'm having to double work. Not only am I paying him a salary, but I'm then having to check all his work. And that's just making me so stressed out. So she let him go the day after our call. And I said to her, how did it go? And she says, really hard. And he was really angry. But I feel so much lighter. And she gave him severance. I mean, she couldn't have treated him better. But she came back to the comment that I said to her on the call that we did a month ago. And that was, I thought a lot about what you said, Heather. And that was, maybe he's just the wrong person for the role. Like, legitimately, his strengths, his talents don't align with what we have. And she said, I know, right now it's hard, but in the long run, I know it's going to be way better for him as well, because he must have been miserable. He never felt like he could do anything right. And, no matter what we gave him, we were cross-checking and cross-questioning what he was doing. And so it's just a really interesting conversation that I wanted to bring to you guys as well, because as we're all growing our businesses, you're bringing on team, whether that's a freelancer, you're outsourcing, you're bringing on a casual, part-time, full-time employee, whatever that looks like. You're bringing these people into your team to support the growth of your business and to work either internally with yourselves, meaning you and or your executive or management team, or externally with your clients. And not everyone is suited to the role that you're going to bring on. And it's okay. It's okay. And it's going to be okay for them as well. In the long run, helping them to find something better for their strengths is going to be amazing. So if you are struggling with somebody on your team right now and you're just trying to work out what to do, be okay with knowing maybe they're just not the right person for the role. And like my friend, desperately trying to update all her systems and procedures and make them even more foolproof. Great. That was a good side effect of what she, was doing. But ultimately, in the end, even that wasn't going to help. So hopefully, wherever you are in this journey of working with team, that just gets you thinking, it's okay. It's okay to let people go, move them around. It's harder to and more detrimental and maybe harder on the rest of your team to see someone that's not supporting you as best as they could. So hiring, firing, you guys, over to you. I hope you're doing really well and you are working smarter this week and you're taking care of yourself. And I'm really excited because we're almost at our year anniversary of this show, you guys. There's so many cool things in store. Make sure you tune into episode 100 because I'm going to share something special with you guys. So that's coming up shortly and I'll talk to you in that episode in the next week or so. Talk soon. Bye, guys.